What's up, guys? This is Kyle from SkySportsUSA.net, and on today's episode of Quick and Dirty, I'm going to show you how to change out your bronze bushing. Now, this should be done every 50 hours to make sure that elbow is moving freely. We also have a newer product we want to show you called the 7-Spring Service Kit. This gives you everything you need to replace your springs, your shrink wrap, your safety wire, and it even includes a little dab of Molly Coat to keep everything lubricated and moving freely. Let's go check it out. The first thing we're going to do is remove the upper 4 springs holding the elbow. Now pay attention to the safety cable. For these 4 springs, one cable runs through all 4. This is going to be important when we assemble it. Moving down onto the 3-spring section of the elbow, we're going to remove these. I always take the top one off first. These springs each have their own safety cable. Again, pay attention to this because we're going to need to know this when assembling. We're going to wipe down that bronze bushing real quick. Then we're going to put some heat to it. I use a heat gun, and I spend a while heating that thing up. I made this look pretty easy, but you're going to spend a minute just putting the heat to it. Take a chisel and a hammer and give it just a couple whacks. What we're trying to do here is give enough room to stick a flathead screwdriver in. Work it back and forth. I'm going side to side here. I'm not using a lot of pressure because it's actually coming off pretty easily, but just keep walking it. Pulling up our heavy duty spring puller here. And that bronze bushing is hot, so I'm going to try to catch it here so it doesn't bump into me and burn me. Take a little sandpaper and a Scotch-Brite pad just to knock off the loose rust on these mating surfaces. This is where we're going to apply the Molly Coat so that elbow moves freely once we reinstall it. On this upper section, I wouldn't go too crazy with it. Again, like I said, we're just trying to get rid of the loose stuff. Yep, I'm going to clean the manifold up here. Some people put the bronze bushing in a toaster oven, heat it up so it expands. It makes it a little bit easier to get on the manifold. In this case, I'm just going to set it on and use a block of wood, give it a couple whacks, make sure it's going on nice and straight. I put the springs on with the shrink wrap installed. After I get these on, I'm going to put a thin layer of Molly Coat on that bronze bushing. When you put the elbow on, it's going to squeeze a lot of that Molly Coat out, and you don't want that to get onto your prop and then get flung into your wing. So just a light coat, and this even looks like maybe a little too much. And then here we go. This is your lower section of your exhaust. This is where I put the Molly Coat all the way around. It's super important that this is clean and lubed up. The My 200A elbow is going back on now. When I put these springs on, I do it in an X pattern. I start at the bottom on the right side, go top left, then top right, bottom left. We're going to mount up that top spring first. And what you can do is hold the puller and squeeze against that elbow, and that will give you a little bit more leverage to get that top spring on. Now we're going side, and then we're going to do the back side as well. Wiping up that excess Molly Coat. Again, you do not want that getting on your prop and winding up on your wing. This stuff stains. Each one of these springs gets a safety cable. I'm starting at the left side, running the cable through the hoop, through the inside of the spring, around the hoop, back through the center of the spring, and over to the other loose end. Then we're going to put our connector on, once I get that one fished through. Here's the connector going on, and then I'll get the other end stuck through. Now, it's important you don't make these too tight because that elbow still needs to move around a little bit to absorb the vibrations. Just got that snugged up a little bit, squeezing it just with a pair of pliers. It actually crushes pretty easily. And then I'm going to snip off the excess. Again, I made this look a lot easier than it was. I hope yours are sharper than mine. I've got a pick here now, and I'm going to push that connector inside the spring just so it doesn't cut your shrink wrap. Pro tip, when you're doing your shrink wrap, Start at a lower temperature than you think. I actually burnt a hole in this when I was doing it. And let's go over this one more time. You're going to send the safety cable through the hoop, through the center of the spring, around the hoop, back through the center of the spring, and then we're going to add our connector. Pull everything tight, but not too tight so that elbow can still move. Going to go ahead and squeeze it with our pliers to make sure those cables don't back out. Cut the excess away. You then use our pick or a screwdriver to tuck that connector inside the spring. A lot of finagling here. Don't stab yourself with your pick or your screwdriver. Here we are adding heat again. Start low. Don't burn a hole in your shrink wrap. I did it, and then I had to cut the cable off. Take the spring back off. Add new shrink wrap. Add a new cable. Now this top section uses just one safety cable. I start at the top, and I'm going to do like a horseshoe shape down through the center of both springs to get started. Then back up through the spring. And we're going to repeat the exact same thing we did on the front to the back side. It's just going to be a U. Now, I did a knucklehead thing here. I did not show you adding the connector, and I didn't show you crushing it, and I did not show you snipping away the extras, but we repeated the same process as we did below. I'm going to show you a few more shots of how the cable should be run. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. info@SkySportsUSA.net. Hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, all SkySportsUSA. We can be found everywhere. I'm always on social media. I'm always happy to answer questions. Chris is always happy to take a call. 877-933-6774. Thank you for watching.